A warm welcome to the second season of our Supply Chain Leadership Bulletin from beautiful Hamburg. I hope you're all healthy and secure out there. The current measures to get the Covid-19 pandemia under control actually cause severe harm to the global economy. Such a crisis is the moment for leadership in its true sense, essential, pure, and of highest relevance for the faith of the business going forward. Now it's the time to act, and now is as well the time to lead. I therefore decided to create a special edition of our Supply Chain Leadership Bulletin to provide you with insights and opinions from leaders across our industry. Now is as well the time to share ideas and views and to find the best ways out of this together. Let's turn this crisis into an opportunity and let's go right into it. Today I will discuss with Peter Buse, COO of momox. Momox is Europe's leading online platform for second-hand books, media and clothes. You will find a link to momox below this video. Peter lives with his wife and a daughter in Western Germany. He started his career actually at a logistics provider in the fashion segment and kept COO roles in the e-commerce fulfillment for nearly a decade before joining momox. Peter, a warm welcome to the Supply Chain Leadership Bulletin. Thanks for participating. The first question in this situation is, of course, how is your family and how are you?
Well, thank you, Carsten, for having me. It's a pleasure, and thanks for asking. The family is fine. Everybody's healthy, I think, which is the most important topic. And besides, my family has been sewing masks in the last days to provide all of us with that. And we're all waiting to meet friends and relatives again. But everything is okay and we are healthy and fine. So thanks for that. And I hope the same is with you.
Thanks, yes, definitely. Peter, so how did this crisis affect your business? And what is the biggest challenge right now in your business?
What we had, I mean, we're selling secondhand clothes and books and media. And in the first weeks of the crisis, we saw that our customers shortly stopped selling their goods to us. Of course, due to the initial restrictions that were imposed at the time, due to Corona, and maybe also because there was a certain or there was an uncertainty of the customers regarding the situation. That has stabilized again, and at the moment, even the inbound is catching up, as well as our sales that have not been as heavily affected as maybe with other companies. So it was a challenge for some time, but we're doing okay at the moment. I think this is what summarizes best.
And do you think that there are somehow middle-term implications of this crisis which will carry on after the restrictions are lifted?
Well, we have, of course, already implemented a lot of measures to save our operations and to protect our employees, first of all. And of course, with that, to slow down the spread of the virus internally in our company. And so far, we have been doing okay. But I think you have to distinguish. Some of our people currently work from home, where possible, for example, in the customer service and in the IT. Other areas, like the logistics that I'm responsible for, of course, you can work from home. Naturally, you have to be there at the sites. And in these areas, we took a lot of measures to cope with that. And I think the biggest challenge and the biggest change is that you have to be as careful as possible, first of all. And even though certain restrictions might be lifted in the near future, it's still not over. And I think it will be a long-term issue. It will be a marathon, not a sprint. And so we still have to be cautious. We have to manage all the measures around this virus, especially in the logistics. And we have to be there if restrictions are being tightened again. And on the other hand, if there should be more restrictions that are lifted, we need to be able to scale up our business. Yeah, we have not been falling down too much, so we have been operating volume-wise quite normally through the last weeks. But still, of course, there are some countries who have had heavy restrictions, like France, which also affected our business. And if that catches up again, France has announced that they go back to normal to a certain extent again. And of course, for us, it means that we, from doing a little less business than before, we need to be able to scale up in a short time frame. And I think that's a challenge in the short run. Mm-hmm. And in the longer run, the challenge is to cope with these measures on the long term and to accustom our employees for that and also our management.
Okay. Is there already anything you take as a company positively, like an innovation or something like that, which will be carried forward in future?
On the one hand, I think it has been a good learning to see how quickly, in the end, you can switch certain functions into a remote logic. For example, customer service, but also IT, I think, for that matter. And in that case, the crisis was a good test for our flexibility and our flexibility levels, especially if you still operate under more or less normal volumes and not too much decreased volumes. Mm-hmm. And that is a matter for us as well as our partners. Let's say the last mile providers in logistics, for example. And to see how we were able to operate ourselves and with these partners to really secure the business. Then, of course, we have made a lot of adaptations in our working environments. For example, our workstations in the logistics centers or the whole workflow in the sites around third parties, people entering the site and how they are treated, what they are allowed to do, how we deal with them. That has brought some changes, and I think this will last, and of course, out of these measurements, we have a close look if some of them can't be kept also after this situation is gone totally. Okay.
You know that my channel, Supply Chain Leadership Bulletin, it's a lot about leadership and corporate culture. But and I think I said it in the trailer and in the intro, it's a time for leadership. So what element of leadership was most important for you during this first hard period of the lockdown? And did you change the way you lead? Did you add something to your leadership style?
It requires a lot more communication than normal. And that's one thing, of course, that you need to change the frequency of how you communicate, and you need to transport more information by speaking and not maybe by your mimic and by the way you interact personally. At the same time, of course, workers or all employees, including myself, feel the most comfortable when they can do things the way they would like to, and when they have a feeling that they can contribute their share to the overall task. So there are a few principles that are even more true now in this crisis. For example, like letting your team have the best ideas themselves. Or on the other side, lead by example. So practice what you preach, I think is very important. I think you cannot ask people to come to a logistics place and do their work under different environments if they don't see you behaving in the same way. And me personally, for example, I visit the logistics sites as frequently as I did before the crisis. Of course, I take all measurements, precautions that are necessary to do so, wearing a mask, keeping the distance, all this kind of stuff. But I'll be there. I show my face. I'll be around. I talk personally to people to show them that not all of a sudden the management is not there anymore, but it's still there and it's still kind of operating as normal as they have to operate.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for this interesting input. Is there anything like a message, like your personal message towards our audience, how to deal with this crisis, about this crisis you want to share with us?
Yes, of course. I think there is first important matter, and that is I think that you have to give confidence that the current crisis can be solved, which I truly believe, by the way, and that we can even come out of this crisis stronger, that it is an opportunity and not only a threat. Of course, it is a threat. This should not be denied, but the opportunity side of it, I think you need to emphasize as being management, as having a leading role, and you need to give people confidence that we can come over this. Second, it's important, I think, to react quickly and regularly to all changes that come up. But you should also not go totally into a firefighting mode that you just look left and right of what's currently happening. You still need to focus on your overall tasks and goals, on your longer goals. And I think the mix is important, that you are able to be flexible to react. At the same time, don't lose focus on what you want to do in the longer term. And I think
there's always a risk for actionism
exactly.
in the period, and actually I saw some of that. So I appreciate really this two sides, because you can walk and chew gum at the same time, like the Americans say. Yeah, Peter, thank you very much for sharing your views and for taking the time. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and of course, stay healthy and safe. Thank you very much, Peter.
Well, thanks again, and maybe if I can add a final note to this, if I'm asked what you want to say to people, I think it's important to bring your people together, communicate and unite, and that you take your chances where possible, and that you work quickly on all unforeseen events and tasks. And don't be scared for mistakes. Mistakes happen. Just deal with them and go over them quickly and stay positive. And besides, thanks again also from my side. It was a pleasure talking to you, Carsten, and the same to you. Stay healthy and be well, and we'll get through this and out of this together. Thanks.
Thank you very much.